Let's be honest for a second. We live in a world where attention is currency, and women are rich. She's got DMs from men who look better than you, messages from guys who make more money than you, and attention from people who would probably do more for her than you ever could. Harsh truth? Maybe. But it's reality. The modern dating market is overcrowded, noisy, and full of illusions, and yet a select few men still stand out. They don't compete for her attention. They make her choose them, voluntarily, deeply, without pressure. So, what separates those men from the rest? It's not looks, it's not money, it's not luck. It's something deeper, something you can't fake. Presence. Real masculine presence that shifts her energy without you having to say a word. That's what we're talking about today. If you're new here, welcome. This space is about power, purpose, and psychology. So if you want to learn how to master attraction without manipulation, control without control, and become the kind of man who never has to chase, subscribe, and stay till the end. Because what I'm about to share with you will change how you see women, and more importantly, how you see yourself. Let's dive in. 1. Stop trying to win her. Start choosing yourself. You know what turns a woman off faster than anything? A man who's constantly trying to prove why she should pick him. You might think you're being romantic or persistent, but what she actually sees is a man who's forgotten his value. You're not supposed to audition for her approval. You're supposed to live in such a way that she feels honored to be chosen by you. Stoic philosophy teaches that peace comes when we stop trying to control what's outside of us. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And yet, so many men hand that power to women they barely know. You let her text you dry, cancel plans, ignore your effort, and you still chase her like she's oxygen. Ask yourself, when did your life stop being about you? When a woman senses that your emotional center depends on her, she loses attraction instantly. Why? Because women are biologically wired to feel drawn to strength, not dominance, but emotional gravity. The kind that comes from a man who's grounded, who doesn't need her attention to validate his existence. You think chasing her shows effort, but in her eyes it screams scarcity. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." Freedom, in this context, means the courage to walk away. The courage to say, "I want you, but I don't need you." Do you realize how rare that is today? Most men either chase too hard or pretend not to care. Both are forms of weakness. Real power lies in being fully open and fully independent. Here's the paradox. When you stop trying to win her, you actually become the prize, because she feels your detachment. Not the cold, arrogant kind, but the confident, self-assured kind. You're no longer orbiting around her approval, you're walking your own path. And if she wants to join you, cool. If not, you keep moving. Let me ask you something that might sting a bit. Do you really want her, or do you just want her validation? Because if it's the latter, you're already losing. Attraction isn't about convincing her. It's about aligning with her. And alignment only happens when you're authentic, when your life is full, your mission clear, and your peace non-negotiable. That's when she starts looking at you differently. Not as one of many, but as the one she doesn't quite understand, can't quite control, and can't seem to forget. So, before you ask, how do I make her choose me? Ask this instead. Would I choose me? Because the woman who truly belongs in your life won't need to be convinced. She'll just recognize your energy and move toward it. 2. Silence is louder than words. You know what's funny? Most men talk their way out of attraction. They explain too much, justify too much, text too much. They think words build connection, but it's actually the spaces between words that create desire. A man who knows how to use silence isn't distant, he's powerful. In Stoicism, silence is discipline. It's the control of emotion. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And that mastery starts with the ability to be still. Women feel that deeply, because silence in a man communicates certainty. Certainty in what he feels, who he is, and where he's going. Let's be real. When you're talking to a girl you like, every part of you wants to fill the silence. You think, if I keep the conversation going, she won't lose interest. But that's not attraction. That's fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of losing momentum. Fear of being forgotten. And women can smell that fear from a mile away. There's a kind of man who doesn't rush to reply. Not because he's playing games, but because he doesn't need to. He listens more than he talks. He looks at her, not with desperation, but with a quiet curiosity, as if he's studying something valuable but not irreplaceable. That's the man she thinks about when he's not around, because he doesn't flood her with words. He gives her space to feel. Have you noticed how silence builds tension? It's the same reason movies use pauses before big moments. Anticipation creates emotion. And women are emotional creatures. They don't fall for logic. They fall for feeling. When you say less, every word you do say carries more weight. Think of Marcus Aurelius again. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. You don't tell her you're confident. You show it by being at ease in your own skin. You don't tell her you're not needy. You demonstrate it by not forcing conversations. You don't tell her you're different. Your silence says it for you. Here's a challenge for you. Next time you're with a woman you like, resist the urge to fill the silence. Just be present. Notice what happens. Does she lean in more? Does she talk more? Does she start asking you questions? That's the magnetic pull of grounded energy. When you're comfortable with silence, she starts to feel safe in your presence. And safety is what allows attraction to deepen. But remember, silence is not withdrawal. It's not the cold shoulder. It's awareness. It's knowing when to speak and when to let her wander. The problem is, most men never let her wander. They're too busy explaining, proving, performing. When you stop performing, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is irresistible. So, let me ask you this. Are you using your words to connect or to protect your ego? Because sometimes saying nothing says everything. When you combine that calm presence with emotional control, you start to separate yourself from every other man she's ever met. You become a mystery, not because you're hiding, but because you're simply not desperate to be understood. That's when she starts doing the chasing. She starts imagining who you are, what you're thinking, what you feel. And the truth is, the less she knows, the more she feels. This is where real power lives, not in manipulation, but in mastery. Not in chasing her energy, but commanding your own. Because when you can hold your frame, hold your peace, and hold your silence, you don't just attract her, you influence her. You create space for her to step into your world, not because you begged her to, but because she wanted to. 3. Be her calm, not her chaos. Every woman has chaos inside her. Emotions, doubts, fears, and desires she doesn't always understand. Most men, when they sense that chaos, either try to fix it or get consumed by it. They argue, defend, overreact, or start matching her emotions instead of anchoring them. But the truth is, she doesn't need another storm. She needs a mountain. A man whose energy is still when hers isn't. You see, women are naturally drawn to men who can regulate emotion. Why? Because it makes them feel safe. That's what emotional attraction really is. Safety in your presence. Not the safety of money or protection, but the safety of peace. A woman's heart will always lean toward the man who doesn't flinch when she's emotional. Stoic philosophy calls this apatheia, not apathy, but inner calmness, the ability to stay steady in the face of external storms. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Most men never learn that. They let her moods, her tone, her reactions dictate their peace. But when you start practicing stoic calm, something changes. You no longer absorb her chaos, you reflect it back with groundedness. If she's upset, you don't match her energy, you slow it down. If she's cold, you don't chase, you hold your warmth until she feels it again. That's masculine polarity, the dynamic that reignites attraction. Modern men have been told that being emotional is weakness, and that's wrong. The real problem isn't emotion, it's emotional reactivity. When you can feel without being ruled by feelings, you become rare. You become the man she comes to after she's done playing games with men who can't hold their own emotions. Think about this. Have you ever noticed how the calmest person in the room automatically becomes the leader? People gravitate toward those who don't get thrown off. The same happens in relationships. A woman might test you emotionally, not because she wants to hurt you, but because she's trying to feel you. She's unconsciously checking, can this man handle me? Or will he crumble under my storms? When she throws chaos your way, and you meet it with patience and strength, her energy shifts. She softens. Because she realizes she doesn't have to protect herself around you. And when a woman feels that, she chooses you, not out of need, but trust. Ask yourself this. When things get tense with her, do you breathe or react? Do you speak from awareness or emotion? Do you try to win, or do you aim to understand? Because every argument is a test, not of who's right, but of who's grounded. Calm doesn't mean emotionless, it means self-control in motion. It's the kind of power that doesn't shout, doesn't beg, doesn't compete. It simply stands. Like a stoic in the middle of battle, centered, watching chaos unfold, yet untouched by it. That's when she feels it. That quiet strength. That rare stability. And in a world full of emotional boys pretending to be men, she'll always choose calm over chaos. 4. The less you react, the more power you hold. Let's get this straight. Attraction isn't built on what you give her. It's built on what you don't give away. And one of the most valuable things a man can hold on to is his emotional energy. Every time you overreact, argue too much, or take things personally, you give her your power. And once you do that, it's hard to get it back. Seneca wrote, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." Think about that. Every time you let her words trigger you, you're not proving strength, you're proving insecurity. You're showing her that she can control your emotional state. And once a woman feels that, she loses respect, even if she still likes you. Power in relationships isn't about dominance. It's about control. Not over her, but over yourself. Women test men through emotion, not logic. They'll say something sharp, act distant, or pull away, just to see if you crumble. It's not always intentional. It's instinctive. But every reaction you give her is data. She's watching, subconsciously asking, can this man handle life, or does life handle him? Let me tell you something brutally honest. The man who can't control his reactions will never keep a woman's respect, because the moment she feels she can emotionally manipulate you, she stops feeling safe with you. She might stay physically, but mentally she's gone. So how do you hold your power? By mastering pause. Before reacting, breathe. Before texting back in anger, wait. Before assuming, observe. That's not weakness. That's warfare. You're protecting your peace from becoming a playground for her emotions. Modern men often mistake silence for losing. They think, if I don't respond, she'll think she's right. But women don't respect reaction. They respect restraint, because restraint signals self-possession. The man who can stay calm when tested is the man who stays chosen when others are dismissed. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When she cancels last minute, when she flirts with others, when she withdraws affection, these are outside events. What matters is how you respond. That's what defines your value as a man. Ask yourself this: are you reacting to her, or are you responding to yourself? Because one is control, the other is chaos. When you choose response over reaction, something shifts. She starts chasing your energy instead of controlling it. You'll notice this in small ways. She'll start explaining herself more, checking your mood more, even trying harder, because your silence makes her uncertain. Not in a manipulative way, but in a way that makes her reflect. She starts realizing she can't get to you easily, and that's when desire grows. Because at the end of the day, women don't crave a man who's perfect. They crave a man they can't shake. The one who, no matter what happens, never folds. Be that man, and she'll always come back. 5. Purpose is the greatest aphrodisiac. Here's something most men don't want to hear. She doesn't love you as much as she loves how she feels around you. And if your life has no direction, she feels lost too. A man without purpose can't hold a woman's attraction for long, because when you have no mission, your energy has no gravity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be." B1 purpose is the difference between men she entertains and men she respects. It's the quiet fire that makes your presence magnetic. You don't even need to talk about it. She feels it. It's in how you move, how you focus, how you treat your time. You see, purpose doesn't have to mean chasing fame or fortune. It means direction. It means waking up with something that drives you outside of her. When your identity isn't tied to her affection, you become free. And freedom is irresistible. Here's the hard truth. Most men lose women not because they're bad partners, but because they stop growing. They trade purpose for comfort. They make her their focus instead of their mission. And when she becomes your mission, she loses desire because she doesn't want to be your destination. She wants to join your journey. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Stop telling women what you're about. Live it. Let your focus speak louder than your affection. When she sees you building something, chasing something, improving yourself, she can't help but feel drawn. Because women are instinctively wired to follow the man who's going somewhere. Ask yourself, if she left tomorrow, would your life lose direction? If yes, that's your problem. Your energy should never depend on a relationship. The strongest attraction comes from independence, not attachment. The man who can walk alone will always be the one women want to walk beside. When you're on your mission, something beautiful happens. You stop chasing her, and she starts aligning with you. She adjusts her energy to fit into your rhythm, because she realizes you're not just another man trying to be chosen. You're already chosen by your purpose. That's when she looks at you differently. Not as an option, but as a man of focus. The kind she can't distract, only inspire. And that's the kind of man who doesn't lose women, because he doesn't need to hold them. His vision holds them for him. 6. Don't compete. Contrast. Let me tell you something most men never realize. You can't outcompete other men for her attention because she's not choosing based on who tries harder. She's choosing based on who feels different. When a woman has options, the man who stands out isn't the loudest, flashiest, or most persistent. It's the one who moves differently. The one who makes her energy shift without forcing it. Competition puts you in scarcity mode. It makes you compare, perform, and overextend. And that kills your magnetism, because now your energy screams insecurity, that you're trying to prove your worth instead of embodying it. But contrast is quiet power. It's the art of being different by nature, not by effort. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." You imagine other men as threats, when in truth, your only threat is losing your sense of self. The moment you stop worrying about what she's doing or who she's talking to and start refining your own world, you create contrast. You become the man who doesn't need to chase her attention because he's too busy building something she wants to be part of. Think of it this way. She's surrounded by men who all speak the same language: compliments, validation, attention. But when you stop trying to impress her and start expressing yourself naturally, you break the pattern. Suddenly, she's the one wondering, why isn't he trying like everyone else? And curiosity, my friend, is the birthplace of attraction. You create contrast by having values, boundaries, standards. When you say no to things that don't align with your energy, you silently communicate power. And women feel that more than anything you could ever say. Because contrast isn't just about behavior, it's about vibration. Most men operate on desperation. You operate on direction. Here's what most don't get. The moment you stop competing, you free yourself from the trap of external validation. You stop mirroring other men and start mirroring your mission. That's when you start attracting, not chasing, because now she's comparing them to you, not the other way around. Ask yourself something honest. Are you trying to be better than other men, or are you trying to be better than you were yesterday? Because she doesn't care how you stack up against others. She cares how you make her feel. And what makes her feel deeply isn't competition. It's contrast. When you're calm, where others are chaotic. When you're focused, where others are lost. When you're grounded, where others are reactive. That's when she starts to notice. Because in a world of noise, silence is power. In a world of men chasing, standing still, with purpose, is rebellion. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." So stop thinking like every other man. Stop comparing, stop chasing, stop performing. Let your difference speak. Let your energy show her what true contrast feels like. Presence without pressure. That's what makes her choose you when she could have anyone. Not because you tried harder, but because you made her feel something she couldn't find anywhere else. At the end of the day, making her choose you isn't about being better than other men. It's about being better aligned with yourself. Women are drawn to power, but not the kind that controls. They're drawn to power that calms. And that kind of power only comes from discipline, purpose, and peace. You make her choose you by choosing yourself first. By being the man who doesn't chase chaos, doesn't lose control, doesn't trade purpose for validation. The man whose energy is steady, whose silence speaks, whose mission leads. Because in a world full of men trying to be chosen, the man who doesn't need to be, is. So remember, calm is power, presence is magnetism, detachment is mastery. Don't just be the man she wants, be the man she can't forget. If this spoke to you, subscribe, because we're only getting started. And next time, we'll go even deeper into the psychology of attraction, power, and masculine peace. Until then, stay grounded, stay real, and never forget. The right woman doesn't need to be convinced. She'll choose you. Always.